This video is sponsored by Musicbed, but more on them later in the video. So welcome back to another video about the behind the scenes of my latest short film, Flee. If you haven't watched all the other behind the scenes video, I encourage you to go do that now. But in this video, today's topic, we are talking about the edit of this beast of a 24-minute short film. Quite a bit longer than a lot of other short films in the kind of traditional short film arena. You can see my timeline here. I mean, it's a lot. There is a lot of stuff going on here. And I wouldn't say that editing is one of my strong suits. I mean, I think I like the craft of editing. I like the storytelling aspect of it. I like the timing and pacing of things. But what I don't like is I just really get bogged down in the minutia of the actual, like, using the tools to edit. It's never really been something that I can really hang on to. I edit for like an hour to 2 hours at a time, and then I have to walk away from a computer. Actually, this YouTube channel is really hard for me to do edits. It just doesn't fit with my personality. I've actually recently hired my friend Drew Wilson to start editing some of my videos for me. That way I can focus more on the things that I want to make and create, and focus more on short films some more. And I'm actually going to kind of hand off some of that nitty-gritty editing to him, which has been so helpful for my own mental capacity. I know that not everyone else feels the same way. Actually, to tell you the truth about this one, is my approach to this was, I was the director, I was the writer. I assumed that I could throw it together and just start editing it myself. And I did do that. I needed to see the footage. I needed to see a rough cut, like, as quick as I could after shooting the film. So I did that. I put together a very, rough edit. I sequenced everything out, and that felt really nice doing that. But then it was like this daunting task of like, okay, now you need to massage this and make this work and make this a good film, not just a bunch of the pieces slapped together. What I decided to do, which I thought was a really good approach, and maybe a lot of other people should try this too. I mean, you're never really gonna have fresh eyes on the story as someone that wrote it and directed it. And so it's nice to have someone else come in and edit the footage that you shot, someone that wasn't even on set or knew anything about the project previously. So I reached out to a couple friends on YouTube that are editors, and one did get back to me, Mark Holtz. He actually has a YouTube channel. He's a full-time editor, but he, does YouTube on the side. If you want to check out his work, it's down in the description below. He does a lot of videos over vintage lenses, so we kind of hit it off on that, and that's kind of how we met initially. But he offered to take what I had done and start massaging it more. And to me, this was like such a good approach. So for me, I have a very specific thing in mind, a very specific tone I wanted to hit, but I got stuck a little bit, like with what the footage that we shot. And so I was able to do my rough cut, get all the proxies together, which, by the way, the Sony Venice is really cool because we were shooting 6K RAW, but we were also shooting proxies to the internal cards. It actually has two sets of cards when you're shooting RAW on the Venice, a very interesting camera like that. So we were shooting 1080p proxies to one card while we were also shooting the 6K RAW to another card. So I was able to actually edit this entire film with proxies to begin with, which made things really easy, especially when trying to get some files to Mark to do his own pass on the edit. So it was cool. I sent him the script. He liked the script and he wanted to take a crack at it. So I figured out how to get the files together in a way where he could, because he lives in Canada, I live in the United States, figured out a way to get all the proxies to him, and so he could take his own crack at the edit. This was super helpful. He was able to do what he thought the film should feel like and be like. And, he swung it one specific direction, kind of, taking my rough cut in mind, but then adding to that, adding some sound effects and music and, and pacing it a little differently. And that was really interesting to see where he would go with it. So we did a couple online Zoom sessions talking about it, and he really pulled the edit together for me. He took the kind of pieces that I had and he kind of made it a complete package, which was amazing. But the thing that really gathered from that was seeing his perspective of the film, seeing his perspective of the story. And what it did, it really helped convict me. It really helped tell me what I wanted from the story. Like, I knew what I wanted going into it, but what they say, and actually I think Mark is the one that mentioned this to me, is that when you are editing, you're actually rewriting your film. The edit is like the re-edit. So you write your film, but then you shoot your film, and what you get when you're shooting it is often different than what you wrote. And so now you have to rewrite it again. You have to take the pieces that you were able to film and make the story from those, and not being so hung up on the source material to begin with. So we kind of found a middle ground. It was kind of cool to see where he took it, see where I already had it, and in some scenes we were like, I don't know, let's go back to the original, but in some scenes I was like, I love what he did here. Let's just massage this out a little bit. Let's let this scene breathe a little more. Let's add this shot here and let this hang and stuff like that. And it helped me so much. Now, the other side of that is, I think the number one important thing with editing is taking a break from it. You're never going to have those fresh eyes, like I said, on the edit ever again. And it's hard. You don't really know. It's like, this scene too long? Like, it feels right to me right now. But then, like, by the 15th time of watching a scene, if you watch any movie over and over again, like I do, I watch movies over and over, you'll start to notice that, like, the movie starts to, like, feel like it's going faster, or scenes are going faster, because you know what's going to happen. So that kind of, that fresh eyes, that first time you're seeing a frame, the first time you're seeing something happening goes away. And so this was nice for me. I was able to take, like 2 weeks from looking at the film and then come back and just watch it again. And be able to just like spot so many things I wanted to change with. So I've done this quite a few times. I mean, I shot this film in November and I'm still tweaking the edit as we speak. Even recently, like right now when I'm making this video, I actually haven't touched the edit in I think like 10 days. I had my birthday, I met Roger Deakins, which that was really cool. More on that at another point. And I just like took some time to myself, made some other YouTube videos, did some other stuff, shot a commercial, and now I'm able to come back to it. And last night I was just sitting in bed and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw the film up on my TV and just watch it. Like as if I was, I was already in a movie watching mode, and I just threw it up there and watched it. And I pulled out my phone. I took 10 notes immediately that I had not noticed before. I was like, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna tweak that. Just stepping away and seeing it as a whole again really helps, rather than getting caught up in each scene and the minutia of it. Now to start this, I didn't just throw it all in one timeline. I actually did break it out into each scene, which I thought was the best way for me to make the task not seem so daunting. So I actually was like, okay, scene 1, throw all the footage in there, and let's just edit this scene as it is. And then you can do that with each scene, and it's easier for you to it's kind of like that snowball effect. It's like, okay, got that scene done, now let's do another scene. Rather than throwing everything in a timeline and being like, oh my gosh, there's 24 minutes of footage here. There's 30 tracks of dialogue or an audio, and you're just like, that's so scary. But when you can do it with just breaking out into each scene, highly recommend. I know some people don't do that, but that's what I did, and it really worked for me. So like I said, the Venice Shoots proxies, that made things easier, but I also shot, we shot on the FX3, the FX6, the Sony a7 IV, and the Venice for this. And I actually have the last Intel MacBook Pro that they ever made. I'm not on an M chip yet. I've spent most of my money on this film and on my camera stuff, not on my computer stuff, which I will need to upgrade to an M system as quick as possible. But doing so, those H.265 files or even the H.264 files that come out of the Sony cameras just bogged down my computer. So that made things a little bit more difficult. I actually had to go through and generate proxies for those too. And I hate proxies. I don't like having to generate proxies. I like editing with them, but I don't like generating them. Super annoying. Need to upgrade this before I make my next film, which hopefully I'll be doing soon. So the other thing that I'm having to really learn when making this is the audio. We had some really awesome sound recordists for my film, and I'm really happy with the quality of audio I got. Really excited about that. But I don't have a proper audio mixer at the moment to do the film, and so I've been learning it myself, which I don't know if you guys have been watching the channel for very long, but I'm not that great at audio. I have to say, it's such an important piece to filmmaking, and I have just not learned enough about it. This really forced me to do that, and having the time to do it was really nice too. I mean, I had to meet some deadlines with this in order to get it into film festivals. Actually, I've already submitted it to 7 film festivals as a rough cut just to see if they are interested. I've already got my first rejection letter, but that's okay. That's to be expected with film festivals. I still have a lot of time though, and a lot of film festivals will take your rough cut, and then they'll let you submit the final version before release if they think the rough cut was good enough and they understand what you're doing. Little tidbit of information. I had to learn this. I was really stressed out trying to make a deadline for a couple film festivals. And then I sent some emails out. I read the FAQ on these things, and it turns out a lot of festivals are willing to do that. The only thing is, if you're doing this, you just need to realize that if you submit a rough cut, you still want it to be as good as you can get it, because they will not guarantee that they will watch it a second time. later down the road before they make final, calls on the submissions. Luckily, hopefully what you've submitted gives them enough of an idea to decide if they want to put it in a festival or not. But I would really like it to be in festivals. I'd really like to, get some eyeballs on it, some people that are just willing to sit down and watch films. Not gonna lie, like I'm done with this thing. I'm done with this project. I filmed it, I edited it, basically we're 95% done with it, and I'm ready just to show everyone. I'm ready to put it up online, but I can't do that. I need to have some patience and put it in some festivals. Honestly, this is a 25-minute film. It opens with a really slow scene. It probably wouldn't even do that great online, with the attention spans that we have now. I think it'll be great in a film festival setting. People are there to watch films. You put it up on a big screen and just appreciate it in that way. And I'm really excited to do that. So hopefully I'll be entering it into some more film festivals soon. Something to think about if you are a filmmaker like this. You need a budget for that. I've already spent quite a few dollars trying to put it into film festivals on top of the budget that I already had to make it. And speaking of, I'm sort of out of money, and that's why I'm trying to figure out how to do this audio mix myself. I'm learning a lot about that. I'm okay with the audio not being 100% perfect, given that it is a short film and not like a feature film. Doing the color myself. There's a lot of things I'm doing myself. And as far as editing goes, from like a craft standpoint, man, learned a lot from this. When you have this many scenes, everything I've made up until now has been fairly short. This one had a lot of scenes, a lot of dialogue, a lot of transitioning from one place to another. So I learned a lot about that, and I'm still kind of figuring out that using music to kind of like create a tone here. Tone is really important. That was kind of the first feedback I got when I sent it out to some of my closest friends for feedback, which I kind of did that like a Hollywood test screener. I got my rough cut. Me and Mark got it kind of dialed in, and then I wanted to send it to some people before I submitted it to festivals and get some feedback. In Hollywood, they do a Hollywood test screening on endings and show people the movie with bad visual effects and stuff like that, just so you can know what people are liking about it and what they're not liking about it, and you're able to tweak that before you're done. And there's no shame in that, like get some feedback. I want people to like this, I want people to appreciate it, and so getting some feedback from my friends was super helpful. So the first thing I did, to get things going, I downloaded some music from Musicbed to help pace the film, help create a tone on the film, which was really fun. I kind of found the first things that I liked, and I started putting those in the scenes and playing with that music. Because you can't have like custom composed music right out of the gate. You really need to have like a final product before you get composed music for a film. Well, that's what the composers that I've reached out to have told me. Can you get it more complete before I sit down to write something? Yes, okay. But that being said, so I was able to go through, take some time with it, have some people watch it. And then there was some tonal issues at the beginning. It's like, what kind of film are you making? So I decided to go through, and now that I've got the edit like much more locked in, and I've decided to go back to Musicbed. I've decided to revisit all the music, kind of play with the tone more, even deleted some music out of there that I thought, this spot I thought needed music, it doesn't now. And then I've swapped out some of the music, which was really handy. You can, get a temporary file from Musicbed, edit with it, and then swap that out with something else that you prefer, and then you can download that song and license that song instead. So that's what I've done here, and I still think I might reach out to some composers to maybe do the music on this, but here's the deal, and they say to watch out that you could get married to the music that you edit with, and if you want to do a custom score, you can get like your brain will get locked into it, and that's happening to me here. So for sure, I'm actually going to license quite a bit of this music from Musicbed, if not all of it at this point. I'm really liking how some of the music is fitting. I might reach out to a friend and maybe get some composing for some certain spots. I'm not sure yet, but that's what's kind of cool is I have the ability to do either one. The reality is Musicbed has the best music you can really get to license on the internet, in my opinion. Which, we might as well talk about this video sponsor, which is Musicbed. I've been using Musicbed's music since they launched. I just knew out of the gate, most cinematic music you're gonna find online. And I really love how you can just search by genre and mood and type and find something you're looking for. I often use, kind of synth sci-fi stuff in my YouTube videos, which you've heard before. A Makeup and Vanity Set is one of my favorite, but they just have all sorts of amazing artists on there to choose from to really create the tone of the film, find that mood that you're looking for. So if you need some music for one of your films, sign up for a free account by clicking the link in the description below and use Spencer23 at checkout for 1 month off an annual subscription. And I do want to thank Musicbed for sponsoring this video. But yeah, so I swapped out some of the music and really changed the tone of the film, which it's pretty remarkable what music can do and it's how important it is. I know I've talked on the channel before, but some of my favorite directors like Denis Villeneuve and stuff like that, music for him, unless he's doing like a very sci-fi thing like Blade Runner, is really like this thing that he only uses when he needs to add emotion. But then there's certain people like Christopher Nolan that like Hans Zimmer score is there the whole time, really as like a character, helping pull you through the film. And it was really hard for me to decide what I wanted to do with my film. So I've kind of been experimenting, pulling in music for certain scenes, pulling it out, or maybe just fading it out. And that was a really fun process. And that's where this kind of like re-edit comes into play. You write the film, you shoot the film, but then like you're really starting to create new things once you get it into the edit. And that's really fun about editing. And then on top of music, we have the sound effects. I mean, so you're recording a lav, you're recording a boom mic, you've got like mix channels that the mixer will give to you, so you can use like a pre-mix if you want to. Some of my scenes, like this scene here, like some of the scenes have, this one has 3 characters in it all talking at once inside of a gas station, which had its own issues with, the sound of the refrigerators and stuff. But yes, you have all of this dialogue, and this is a mess. Like I said, I am not good at the whole process of editing. So this, like the organization of this is just, I bet people are just like laughing. Luckily, my new editor, Drew, he color coordinates like everything. He color codes everything, and it makes things a lot easier, I'm sure. And then, I've got the music in there, you're fading things in and out. It's just, and then I'm also using a music library to add in sound effects and, to punch up certain scenes, but also like to just get crisper, cleaner, basically Foley without me having to do the Foley. So like in this scene, there's like a beer can open. So rather than having to like record my own beer can sound or using the one that we got on the day, I was able just to download one from a music library and then use that in here. And so it's like, you kind of need to edit the film, then you need to do all the sound effects, then you need to do the music, and then you can do the dialogue, and I'm still trying to figure out the dialogue, but it's been a really fun learning process. So, a few little clips from the film, can't give away too much, but you've sort of seen this opening scene here. Basically our character opens with buying the van. Super fun here. Yeah, really fun to see some things that you've storyboarded just really come to life, and then you can quickly sequence those together because you already know what you wanted. And then other scenes, you kind of had to just get coverage and see how it looked, and throwing that together is, like I said, it's like re-editing the story. Well, I'm really excited to have people see the film, but it's going to be a while before you can see the whole thing because it is still in that film festival submission process, but hopefully I can get it online, I don't know, somewhere after the summer or something like that, after these kind of film festival stuff have, tapered off. But what's been good about that too is that whole thing about taking a break, like I talked about. I'm still taking more breaks from it. I'm gonna probably edit it a little bit more this week, take a break from it, submit it to some more festivals, walk away, and come back to it again and make some tweaks. And so I feel like this whole like patience process has been really nice for me. As a YouTuber, I'm used to just like uploading things to YouTube right after I edit them and letting them live out there in the universe. But this has been really nice to just keep fine tuning it. But the good part about the festivals and the deadlines is that I do need to finish it at some point. I can't just keep tweaking it forever. At some point, you just have to let it go. It can't be fully perfect, and I will finish it. And I'm excited for when that day comes. But I'm ready. I'm ready to write something else. I'm kind of done with this project. I want to move on. I want people to see it, and I want to start making something else. I mean, this year, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, because this year my plan is just to keep making short films. I don't plan on stopping. I really believe that exercising muscles and exercising things is how you get better at things. And so this year, that's just my plan. That's my sole goal, is to just make more films. And so I'm ready to start writing my next film. Maybe something a little bit less ambitious than this one that doesn't cost $30,000, and maybe one that costs just a few grand, a little bit more of a smaller concept, but just to keep up that skill set and to keep trying to make movies. So that was it. That's all I have for today. It'd be great if you could subscribe and give me a thumbs up. That goes a long way on the channel. And until next time, guys, as always, I'm Spencer Sakurai. See ya.